programs our journey into the Stephen Hawking, the celebrity elkhead in a wheelchair. Systems. Colleague.
And of course, it's required a huge amount of effort for him. It's, in some sense, I think, made him even more determined.
Not was not with after to do what almost every southern quantum mechanics.
Get us on with it like that's really just as well, because you know, like the rest of us, we all get
entirely put. Is to satisfy an incessant demand for his illustrated lectures.
Vomited up the moon, the stars, and then some animal. This creation myth, like many others, tries to answer the questions we all
Doctors had told him might well be a very short life ahead.
Here, I was wondering, shall I bring him up?
Jolted Hawking out of his depression. Theory of relativity, the theory of our universe. Now, explains empty space. In empty space that dominate the universe.
Let's imagine that this basketball is a celestial object like a star. Thing that is unresponsive, but in our modern view, this star, as it moves through space,
stars can actually bend and curve space is now an everyday notion to astrophysics.
a planet-sized. If the ball hits
think the force of gravity are concentrated in areas of curved space. The penny rolls in quickly, take the Earth billions of years to hit the sun. The according to space, but Penrose itself and conjure up the worker and
I'm going to draw this.
Black holes were just a crazy idea, but Penrose a star burns down, all so heavy that a teaspoonful would weigh more than a mountain. Not even light beams can escape. Around the ultra-dense center,
If a planet Earth, it would be even smaller. It would be a few centimeters.
using Einstein's equations, that at the center of a black hole there was a plug hole. This that would matter. Hawking was
it would inevitably develop a singularity and at first I didn't
had been told he had 2 years to live, was wrestling with a point in space where the amazing
First thing he did in this area
but to the entire universe. A goal of singularity. To appear in wonders and things that he completely unexplainable. Point, but frustrating. Funny point. To
Conference on Cosmology in the Vatican, the Pope told the delegates that it was okay to study the universe after it began. I was glad he didn't realize I had presented a paper at the conference, handed over to the Inquisition, like Galileo.
We're not the whole story. Out.
The bottom line is the artless. Singularity of infinite gravity. It just means that our ignorance. We don't
And the theory of the black girl's hold them. Death, the place where everything we know about the cosmos came to a chilling end. but to a young physics researcher like Stephen Hawking, they were an exciting challenge.
My own work on black holes began with a eureka moment while getting into bed in 1970.
What he'd glimpsed that night, getting into bed, was something very peculiar about black holes. It was something that started to deeply trouble Hawking. But it would turn out to be the key which unlocked the door to the mystery of creation. In the mid-1970s, Stephen Hawking was about to attempt something no other physicist had ever achieved. For 50 years, he failed to meld and shape Einstein's theory of gravity. It would not fuse with the very different theory of how atoms work, quantum mechanics. But what Hawking had glimpsed was a point where the two must clash, at the very edge of a black hole.
What happens if you have a black hole? It's black. That's why it's called a black hole. No light comes out of it. What happens if you include
it into a sea of particles and atoms? Two theories sputtered and fought each other. Together.
The problem of reconciling Einstein's theory of gravitational and modern physics. What Hawking completely. He tried to put quantum mechanics and general relativity together in a very limited fashion.
Calculations. What was all the more in his head? Of the atom.
A good way to think of an atom is a bit like our solar system. You've got a nucleus at the center, and you've got electrons whizzing around. Now, let's imagine that this marble is from a marble. But it's not. It's not this far. It's not this far. It's not. It's not even this far. Here. This one. Is the width of a hair, and the electron moves well if we weigh them too.
And for he feels they just transport its built wet bases. Light can behave like waves. Yet that means they can spread out to be in
Common sense says that when I fire this gun, one ball hits one target. There's an electron gun hitting many targets at the same time. Now, sense, I thought it was common sense is violated. Common sense.
They turn out to be much more erratic. How could he join with
At a very tiny level, our universe is like intensities and waves. It comes here at a figure.
are very hard to predict with never exactly with apps. That's it. Sometimes with ships absolutely not. Going on. This energy takes the form of pairs of subatomic particles that emerge out of the void, exist for and annihilate each other.
And so the idea is that our particle exists for a short time and then annihilates. And that's happening throughout space. So it's happening there, and it's happening there.
This pair of particles without each other. One has positive mass, and the mass particle bumped up against a black hole. Hawking particle would have just enough energy to escape, would fall in, and it would do something extraordinary to the black hole.
Although we now understand at first, I thought I must have made a mistake.
But Hawking had not made a mistake. Around a black hole is an almost positive mass particles fly. Negative mass particles fall in, slowly, almost imperceptibly, they decrease the mass
is actually always emitting radiation. But eventually it gets smaller and smaller, the temperature gets hotter and hotter. Sexually,
waiting to go off.
Everything disappears into it, and nothing ever comes out. So maybe it's really our best way to have an ultimate test of the physics of understanding the universe.
Supermassive black hole.
Of activity going on. Cauldrons of heat and light around. Caused by the fact that
Great Eight Force his quest.
That this could happen relies on almost no about the nature of quantum mechanics. Will agree with.
Or just a black hole. The theory is very large. Now log.
In the 1970s, I was able to revolutionize our understanding of the
Could our universe did it come about? Urgently trying Stephen Hawking.
and then talk about ideas, and if they get stuck to cope with the heavy work that they have now. There's something we can
Have you also
Age 66. When many are retiring, I have given up the question. Hawking's life's work has been to come up with a theory that explains how better explain black hole. You just heard it out.
We originally hoped.
Not surprising, really, that it's been hard at Hawking's trunk.
This is very The universe is something like 13,000 million light years, the distance light has traveled since the Big Bang. We know that that entire region must once we know we are in the domain of quantum theory.
But even though the universe was once tiny, the amount of energy and gravity that it contained was vast. Getting the theory of the tiny to explain that huge level of gravity face the variability of the tiny. And there is evidence that supports it. And the evidence since the late help you or evenly distributed